Hi, Nymphya here from the garden on this beautiful autumn day, and I just wanted to give you a little background information on the 15 tracks from my Naked Kate Bush acoustic anthology cover album. How I chose these songs, how did I choose this material? It was a very interesting and in-depth and rewarding process. So I thought I would just go over song by song and just give you a little bit of background information on each one of them and let you know why. So the first song on the album is called Moving. And for those of you who are Kate Bush fans, you may know that Moving was the very, very first song on her very first album called The Kick Inside, which was released in 1978 when she was 20 years old. And I have always loved this song, but there was something to me that was very poetic about having this be the first song on this tribute to her. So I really, really wanted to do this, and I wanted it to be first. So we put a lot of work into making sure that it could be a first song and really a good track to start the album out with. And the song is dedicated to her dance teacher named Lindsay Kemp, who was a mime artist. And Kate Bush studied with him and used a lot of the movement that he taught her in her stage shows, in her music videos, and used it to help her create this more expressive way of performing her material rather than just standing and singing. And so that's why the song is called Moving. It's about motion, dance, movement, and it's just an homage of love and respect to her teacher that she cares so much about. And Moving was actually the B-side of Man with a Child in His Eyes, which is one of her hit singles from this similar album, the same album. And I'll talk about that song a little bit later because I also included that on Naked Kate. So that's Moving, and that's what inspired me to record it, because it opened her first album and I wanted it to open this album. And I love the melodic line. It just arches up and down and has this beautiful range melodically. It's just an interesting and beautiful song. The second song on Naked Kate is Army Dreamers, and I've always loved this song too. This song is from her album called Never Forever, which was her third album, which was released in 1980. And it was a very well-received album. It had 3 singles. Army Dreamers was the 3rd single from the album. And there's always been a few hallmarks of this song that caught my attention when I very first heard it. One is it's a 3/4 waltz. And you know, there's plenty of pop songs that are that, but most of them are in 4/4 time. So I really enjoyed the 3/4 waltz rhythm of this song. But I particularly enjoy the lyrics and the message of the song, which is, in some ways, it's like an anti-war protest song, and it's a song written from the point of view of mothers who never get to see their children grow up if they become soldiers and are lost at war. And it's an interesting juxtaposition because the melody of the song sounds somewhat lilting and joyous, but the message of the song isn't. And that's something that I find really charming and intriguing about this particular song. And the video, I remember the video so clearly because Kate Bush was dressed up in this army outfit, and it used the sounds of rifles cocking as a rhythmic aspect of the song. But again, since we were doing stripped down version, we just brought it right down to the ta-ta of the guitar parts. And I added the whistle solo at the end on the album. And I also decided to make the way we did it, rather than a straightforward, our little army boy, we're swinging it, our little army boy, because it worked really well, number one. I really liked it. And it reminded me of the 40s, World War II, the big swing era. So I thought it really fit the song well to kind of swing it rather than just do it totally straight. The third song on Naked Kate is Cloudbusting. I've always loved this song. I'm going to say that about every song, so just beware, because it was really hard to limit it to just these 15 songs. Cloudbusting was on Hounds of Love, which she released in 1985, and most people consider Hounds of Love to be her masterpiece. I agree with that. Cloudbusting is one of her sci-fi songs. She has a number of sci-fi songs, and I love that about her because I'm a little bit of a sci-fi geek myself. And I chose to include 3 sci-fi based songs on this album because I love it so much. Cloudbusting is one of them. It was actually inspired by the memoir, A Book of Dreams, about Wilhelm Reich. And in the song Cloudbusting, the protagonist is Wilhelm's son. So it's a song about how close they were and how much he loves his father and his machine that he made. And people talk about what the heck is organon, which is one of the lyric lines of organon. Well, that was their home and laboratory. And the song is so, it's just so tender about the son remembering those close times with his father at home at Organon. And it talks about the government. I can't hide you from the government and the big black car when they come to take the father away. And so when Kate did this music video, she hired Donald Sutherland to play her father, and she played the part of the son. And it's extremely charming. But the song itself is just, it just moves you, it sweeps you away with the melody and all the string lines, which we put in with our guitars. Especially when you listen to the song in headphones, you'll really hear how all the guitar parts intertwine and really bring forth a lot of these string lines that she had in the original track. And the big, wonderful, when the sun comes out, we go into this major chord towards the end of our version of it, and it just makes your heart open up. It's like the sun is shining in your heart. So, but yet the song is called Cloudbusting, and isn't that what the sun does? Is it busts clouds? So that's why I chose that song, because it just melodically, the story behind it, the arrangements, the wonderful string parts, it's a great song. And it works really well with guitars, which was a big part of my decision process for each of these songs. Will this work with just acoustic guitars? So I sat down and tested them all out before I decided, yes, this will work. No, that won't work, even if I wanted it to work. The 4th song is Breathing, another sci-fi based song. This song is also off Never Forever, the same album that Army Dreamers was on, and it was 1980. And this was the 2nd single from that album. I personally think this is one of her masterpiece songs, and I am probably not alone in that. The protagonist in this song is a fetus in the womb of a mother who is undergoing a nuclear attack and who also smokes. And the song is really all about, overarchingly, that how breath is the source of all life. It's called Breathing. But this little baby inside the womb is breathing my mother's nicotine, breathing chips of plutonium are twinkling in every lung. It's about Armageddon from the perspective of a baby in the womb. And it's just so creative and so arresting and haunting in some ways. And again, beautiful melodic lines. And I love the big, I have goosebumps right now. I love the big kind of psychedelic end that she put on the original recording. And there are versions of this song where she used to play it live on the piano where she just ended. But I really wanted to kind of bring that original recordings kind of breakdown, and when the nuclear war happens, ending onto this acoustic recording. And so we had a really great time figuring out how to do that with the guitars, using the guitars in a little bit of an extended way, like kind of beating on the body of the guitar to get the taps, and brushing the strings. And then Alex used an ebow, which Jamie, the studio owner and engineer, brought out. Hey, why don't you try this ebow on your guitar? Alex had never tried an ebow. It's just a little electronic device that you put on the string of the guitar, and it kind of makes it this tone come out. So Alex started playing around with the ebow, and we found between all those three things of tapping and the brushing, I was brushing the guitar strings and he was ebowing, we got this really cool kind of deconstructed ending for this song. And I will say that Jamie also said, wow, I've given that ebow to so many guitar players and none of them could do anything with it. And Alex just like, oh, okay, and did this amazing ebow solo. So that's Breathing. And that was really, really fun to put that together. And there goes my paper. And the fifth song on the album is Love and Anger. And that was another single from Sensual World, which Kate put out in 1990. And it was the only single to hit #1 in the United States, I believe. And I wanted to pick material from as many albums as I could. Turns out there were 2 albums I didn't select material from. One was Lionheart, and the other is 50 Words for Snow. And I kept listening and listening and listening to those albums, and I just didn't feel like I found material from them that would work in this setting. Love and Anger is the one song I selected from Sensual World. There were other songs, but again, I only had so much time, and this album is already an hour long. Love and Anger I chose it simply because it is a great song. I know I say that about all of them, and this one is also that. The melody, the message about let's just communicate. And I know you have these things that are deep within you that are maybe hard for you to communicate about, but take away the love and the anger and strip it all away and let's just connect. And you can change the past. You don't need to be victimized by the past. And that's what that song is about. And I believe in that so strongly. So I had to include it. And again, I'm so happy with how it came out. Oh my God. First of all, Alex laying down his kind of Tommy Who kind of guitar thing at the beginning. And I added the bass parts in once we went into the chorus. And then for the tag, I was going, how are we going to build this up? Because on the original recording, it's huge. They've got David Gilmour playing big guitar riffs, and she's dancing around on stage, and there's these, Bulgarian singers are singing in the background. It's like, how am I going to do that? And happily though, I found a drum pattern on this. It was actually a tin end table that Jamie had that he said, I've always wanted to try what this would be like as a drum. So I said, okay. So I played that, and I found this really great drum pattern on that. And then I came up with this bass riff for that last tag that like really worked. It's kind of a stripped down version of the original bass riff. And when I laid those parts down, it was like, boom, that last tag just came alive. So I was so happy about how this song came out too. And I just, I love the song. It was very challenging to perform because her original key is high, but I think it came out really well. So those are the first 5 songs on Naked Kate, and why, the wherefores and the hows. I hope you enjoyed this, and I'll see you soon. Thanks, and take care.